All right, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? We are here. Can you hear me? I can't really tell, but it looks like it's going well. We're bringing a little bit of a different feel tonight, man. Have I feel? Brian says, "Welcome back. Have you recovered yet?" The answer is, yeah, baby, I'm recovered. No, not really. But we're kind of feeling out. We're kind of feeling out. I'm sitting here a little bit more darkness because my eyes are feeling a little bit tired from the whole ordeal. I came back yesterday, and it's been a nice time. What's up, Mom? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Welcome back. Thank you. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. We are here. It's now Thursday, October 13th. As always, 8 p.m. on the dot here on Thursday nights. We're having our weekly hang with coffee and cigars. And I'm your host, coming to you live from beautiful Cockeysville, Maryland. Back from Saudi Arabia. Just arrived yesterday. It takes about 28 hours to come back. It's about 32 to go there and about 28 to come back. It's actually longer to go to Saudi than it takes for me to go to Manila, mainly because there's so many stopovers that are long because of the weird connections. And yeah. So we're just feeling it. We are trying to attract more ladies here on the show. Oh, and that's what I forgot to do today. Someone was talking about a service called Twitch. And Twitch is a streaming service that a lot of streamers use for gaming and other stuff. And I was thinking we should maybe start to simulcast on Twitch. And I forgot all about that. So you just mentioned that right now. So today we're going to be drinking some coffee and having some cigars. The cigars tonight is the Warped Serie Gran Reserva 1988 Robusto. Actually, I saw Tony earlier and he was like, and so he was asking me, "What are you smoking?" I said, "The 1898. And he was like, "You mean 1980?" I said, No, 1898. And I thought it was the 1898 because I actually released the show notes with that. And as I was looking things up, it's like, oh yeah, it is 1988 because the 1898 is a Plasencia cigar. So we're smoking that today. And today's coffee, we're going to brew it up, is actually from Tony, one of his concoctions. He called me up and was like, "Hey, can I use your grinder to grind some coffee?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." He came by and he brought this blend of coffees that he made from. There's a Costco release of the Panama Geisha that we did a video about a couple months ago. That's on the main channel. He had that blended up with this Parisi coffee from Kansas. That is a Bolivian, I believe. So it's a blend of those two together. Maybe he'll drop in some notes here and say his proportions and tell us a little bit more about what we should experience. So we're going to brew that up. Actually, might as well start getting that ready now. So for our brewing, we're going to use this brewer. I don't know if I've talked about this in the past. Why is this music not stopping? The music is only supposed to run once. Man, it's a long track. All right. Here's our brewer. This is the Olsen brewer from Simply Good Coffee. I've got a video about it on the main channel, and it's a nice brewer. It actually looks like a Technivorm. Kind of has the same functionality, but the nice thing about it, it's got a good price point. It's $150. And yeah, there it is. $150 is a great brewer. Brews to the right temperature, so that's what you really want, is right temperature, right flow. And oh yeah, we're just trying to bring you a new ASMR kind of experience tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our brewer, and we do have our, I'll show you a little bit about it first of all. Whoa, what's going on there? We are losing something here. Uh-oh. All right, what's going on there? right, let's get this back on the road. Let's turn some lighting on here. What is up with this thing? All right. We're going to have some technical issues now, so we're going to have to bypass that. Anyway, we're going to use this, right? And so this is the Olsen. I don't know what the heck's wrong with this thing. Like, it's not flickering on the... It's only flickering from the cable, and it wasn't doing this when we first started the streaming, or when I set it up earlier, about an hour ago or so. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. You know how it is. We're having Panic at the Disco. Let me see if that works better. Huh. That might be it. That might be better. And looks like, I don't know if it's something wrong with the other channel. I'm going to have to check that out. That could be a problem. All right, this is the top view of the Olsen brewer. I'm going to take this off so you can see. This is where you can kind of see into it. Let me adjust I'm going to adjust some of the settings here so you can see a little bit better. It's not much better. All right, that's a little bit better. There we go. There we go. Now you can really see well. As you can see here, there is the water reservoir. We've got a funnel system here, just a conical filter for the funnel. And then we've got our shower screen. Uh-oh. And I see the shower screen comes off. And the nice thing about it is that you can take it off. And I think that this is going to be one of the more interesting aspects of ownership of these, is that you can have now, you can make your own and, make your own 3D printed and do all kinds of testing with it. So that's kind of cool. And, there's a couple nice features about this brewer. Uh-oh. Starting to get a little bit wonky. That I like. And basically it is this stem here that goes in the kettle. This kind of forces, when you're brewing larger amounts, it forces the coffee to go to the bottom instead of kind of layering at the top. And it kind of forces it to circulate a bit, so you get a little bit more even result in the brewing. Also, it has this blue button, so if you have something really fresh coffee, you turn it on, it will brew for about 30 seconds. Well, brew for a bit, pause for about 30 seconds, and then continue brewing. So that's a real nice feature. And the off and on switch is here. So we're going to make sure that's up for the bloom. And that's pretty much that. I'm going to plug this sucker in. It's about 1,500 watts, I think, so it's not terribly too... it doesn't take up too much water. No, it's really simple to use. So I'm going to take this, right, and you can see here there is this... You can see that too well. Right here, there's a minimum. It says 2. That means that's the water level for 2 cups, which is roughly about 12 ounces. So it measures the... So there it is. So what are you guys all smoking out there tonight? Anything interesting? I see that Tony says he's smoking on My Father Le Bijou 1922 100 años Corona Gorda and the Zero Tray Pepsi. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, so we got that set up. Now we're going to take our brew basket. Here, we're going to put that here. And basically, I'm going to put the paper filter in. I'm going to fold it over the seams to make it sit flat. Then I'm going to take the coffee, which is about, this is 24 grams of the coffee. Put that in, shake it out. Now there is a ring to help contain the heat. I'm going to leave that off for our brewing today. There's a little magnetic thing here, right? So it kind of locks in place. Right. I'm going to put this back on because we kind of need that. This way you get to kind of see the process of brewing the coffee. Now the water's already in here, and I don't need, and it won't start until I hit the power switch. So I'm going to hit that right now, and we're going to see just how long it takes. Let me get the timer ready. So that once I hit the power switch, we'll hit the timer, and we will then calculate how long it's going to take. All right, there we go. Hope it's on. Yeah, it looks like it's on. And we're getting that flickering again. I don't know what that flickering is all about. So what this thing does, it has a little heating element that heats up the water, and then it pushes it up from it sucks it in. It sucks it in here, brings it down, heats it up, and then pushes it up the tube and over. Now it's starting to come through. There we go. It's starting to brew now. Yeah, nice. What's with the flickering, dude? I don't know what that deal is. Another thing that you have this cap on is because it is getting a little bit, it does seem to be flowing around everything. Look at that. Might be flowing onto my keyboard, burning it out. Bud says, Walmart, Mr. Coffee, 1,800 watts. Why would you go to Walmart? You got to go to Target. $18 works great with. If you go to Target, man, it's nicer environment than $19. Plus, you don't have to wait for those crazy lines. Then Brian says, Bud, you should have bought the Mr. Coffee M4. And do you have a smoke machine? I think, oh, smoke machines. They have them. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of stopped because of the pause, the blooming feature, allowing the coffee to bloom. Scott might have one. Maybe that could be it. He might have a Halloween. All right, it's starting up again. You can kind of hear it. Now, one of the criticisms I do have is that it kind of stays on the center and doesn't quite saturate everything. So I moved it just a little bit just to make sure we get the coffee on the sides to fully saturate. Oh no, man, it's all good. It's all good. There's actually it's interesting. There's this this thing I was watching just a couple weeks ago that has this smoke machine. It's about smoke machines that they're using for small film production. There's really compact container, and it produces quite a bit of smoke. It's if you look at this guy, his YouTube channel is called The C47, THEC47. Jem is his name. He's got a whole video about this little smoke producer, and it will produce different types of smoke. So some that are more billowing, and then some that are more like the what do you call it? The ice, the dry ice. So it's kind of creeping on the surface, which is another way you can go with that creepy stuff. Get the dry ice, put that in water, and it just kind of cascades and stays low. That's probably a nice effect for Halloween. All right, so looks like 3 minutes 39 seconds. Now the brew cycle is completely finished. So that's great. It's within a good amount of time. You know me, I like to have it 3.5 to 4 minutes. And we'll put this cap on here again. All right, so there's our coffee. Nice. And so I'm going to use the Keep Cup. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is the Keep Cup. This was really popular several years ago amongst, hipsters for reusable cups. They're this polymer kind of silicone-y sippy lid with glass and cork to keep it warm, to keep your fingers from burning. We're just going to use that. Just fill it up just a bit. It's a nice brewer, I think. All right, let's have a smell here. Kind of sweet on the nose. Rusty wants to know, do they still make the Keep Cup? I don't know. I know it was really popular with a lot of the hipster baristas and stuff like that several years ago. And I got one. Someone gave me this one. And they're kind of nice. I don't know. I was never really into them. There's a lot of body, a lot of gusto in the initial impression. A little bit of juiciness on the cheeks. It is a little bit on the only way I can describe it, it's a little bit on the baggy side. Tony says everybody needs their adult sippy cup. That's true. Everybody does. I do wonder about the Keep Cup. Let's go see. Does the Keep Cup still exist today? Oops. Let's have a look. Yeah, it looks like it still is. It looks like it's from Australia, or maybe from Australia. Let's see. Keep Cup. Barista standard reusable cup. Oh, it's very cute. It's very cute. Replacement parts, good. Yeah, so I guess it's still out there. That's kind of psychedelic. Rusty says, I remember there was a reusable cup used at SCA a year or two ago. This might have been that might have been how I got this one. I don't remember. Every time they have those, I end up with a couple. Like the red ones they had this year. I have those. So there's a nice sweetness to it. A little bit rounded on the, not rounded, but more of a heavier body. A little bit bitterness. Not terrible. All right, let's move on. We're going to get to our cigar time. Going to go into the humidor to dig out our stuff. Oops. Here we go. And as you can see, now it's still, okay, so it's still pliable, but there is a lot more sandy grittiness in it. Maybe 25% grittiness is what I would say. And then our cigar of the week, here it is. Oh, it's a little bit overdone with this is the warped, very nice looking cigar. This one was $9.95 at Raul's, so pretty good. I need to close that off. That psychedelic stuff is really kind of crazy. All right, let's look at that here. So looking pretty good in the wrapper. There it is, $9.95. Look at that, looking nice, looking nice. It's got this nice sheen to it. Still in good condition, very nice feel. A little bit draggy, but not some are really slick. This has a little bit of drag to it, but not one to be worried about. And Rusty says, maybe I make some more of the official Own Life Tupperdoors. Ooh, that would be amazing. Would love that. Would love that. There's a little bit of a blemish right here. You can kind of see it. It's got a light manure barnyard aroma to it, fragrance. All right, let me get my notes out here. So let's say it's about there on the color scale. All right, let's do some cutting now. I'm going to turn that down. That's a little bit too much. That's a bit better. Okay. Going to use our El Cheapo cutter here with the backstop. Almost tore that. That's not a good thing. So here's our cut. Can it see it? Can it see? There we go. Look at that. There's the cut. It's that little blemish I was telling you about. But look at that. It does look nice, man. That is a nice looking wrapper. Look at that. That looks good. All right. Brian wants to know, how many Georges do we have tonight? I don't know if the Georges have arrived yet. If they're with us, they've been a little bit on the quiet side. Let's do a little cold draw. There's a nice fresh sweetness. Yeah, like an enticing sweetness to it. Okay, that's good. So I'd say the cold draw is kind of this medium here. The fragrance, about medium. Pleasant. I would say good plus. Now it's time for the light. So I'm going to, when we were hanging out with Mike Rosales from Romacraft the other week, he was kind of like, give me a hard time, right? I was using these short matches similar to this, and he's like, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm just lighting a cigar. He's like, you're doing it completely wrong, man. You need to do this. It's like, you need to use the double fisted method. So the double, right? I'm like, all right, man, I'm all right. All right. But the problem is I always do it the wrong way. There we go. It's going to burn my fingers. So we're almost there. Try it again. Come on. There we go. I can't hold it together. All right, there we go. Now we are lit. Who's out there? Let us know. Then Brian says he thinks Brian is here. I don't know who that other Brian is. If you're joining us, let us know if you're there. All right, so starting off with a nice light. Tony and Rusty are here. Nice. Good to see you guys. Always good. Mom is somewhere out there. Oh yeah, there it is. Mom is out there. There he is. There he is. You know something, Mom? I was thinking about, like, if I remember correctly, you said you follow Islam, and the interesting thing is that, I've been going to Saudi Arabia now since 2008, so it's been 5 years of visits to Saudi. This was my sixth trip last week, and I've seen a progression of change within the kingdom, and it's very, very interesting. Where, like, there, for those of you who are familiar, I'm sure everyone's familiar by now that Muslims have something called the call to prayer, right, where the imam is like broadcasting to the people from the tower, right? They basically come out there, and there's at 5 times a day. There are these call to prayers, and, like, for example, like they'll have this. Oh, well, what's going on here? Ads. I have the cheap Muslim app because it has a lot of ads. But, like, you have the call to prayer, right? And so, right. And so this is broadcasting 5 times a day from different mosques around the country, and it's part of life there. And so, like, I had been used to this happening all the time, like, no matter where we were. Like, we could be in, like, the convention center, and suddenly at the prayer time, here's the broadcast of the call to prayer, and you're like, whoa. And the interesting thing is that as they've been progressively moving towards modernization, towards trying to be more like the rest of the world, a lot of this has gone away. Like, and this is something I was asking my friends this time. I was like, what is going on? I haven't heard any call to prayer. Like, I heard it a couple times, but it was really, really light. Like, and like, I'm used to hearing it 3 times a day because that's usually how long I'm awake. And they were telling me that they stopped. They made new laws where the imams they could still broadcast during prayer times, but it was much quieter. Like, it's not like it would be screeching across, like at 4:30 in the morning. It's like screeching across the land, and you're like, oh man, I can hear. Time for prayer, right? But now it's not like that. It's very. So it's another thing that's happened over the years that I just find to be very interesting to see, that things are slowly changing there to become more, I guess, more modern. But in some ways, I do think that it's kind of taking away from what makes Saudi Arabia very unique. Like, sure, it like interrupts your sleep at 4:30 in the morning, but it's kind of interesting. So Dave's there with Buddy. Excellent. What's going on, Dave? How you doing? I mean, I don't know if Mom's on Instagram, but he doesn't post anything in a long time. He doesn't post anything. Oh, here we go. Here's our George. Our George has finally arrived. George, they've been asking about you. Everybody wants to know, have the Georges with us yet? Brian says, it's pretty cool. Sometimes he prays twice when I attend my board meeting with the Catholic Charities. Really? They pray twice? Catholics, we only pray like once typically, at least my experience. And Brian says, we decimal rule with cars and motorcycles, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we're just making some comments about, my trip to Saudi and how there was it's been a lot different. It's been changing, constantly changing, from all the stuff that we thought was, that was one way at one point. Now it's very, very different. Oh, I got you. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Meeting until 6:30 tonight, then had to drive home. Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, it is 8:30. Nice. Got that hour-long drive or so. So this is starting off really well. Like, it's got a nice spice. It's interesting. The draw is great. The smoke production is really great. The aromas are nice. I mean, yeah, so oh, well, that's not so nice. Kind of that movement just kind of fell off into my. But yes, so with the exception of that little drop, it's been a good start. It's a good start, starting out well. Oh, like I was saying, so I believe from what I was reading, this 1988 is marking a significance in Kyle Gellis's life journey. This is the year he was born, so they made this for his 30th birthday. And yeah, not bad. 30th birthday, got you a bunch of cigars making for you. I like that. Brian says that he worked till 7:15, got up and walked into the cigar room. That's excellent. That's excellent. I tell you, that little room that I was broadcasting from last week at the hotel, that turned out to be a really nice spot. I probably smoked like 4 nights there. You know, and they had the big screen TV. I don't know if I was able to turn it around and show you the big screen, but had a big screen TV, watching all kinds of videos. Really nice. It was real nice. Real nice. But it seems like it's a pretty mild night here. So if you're smoking it, you can still smoke outside. That's nice. And one thing I'm not sure is like, because when I left for this trip, it was raining. When I returned, it was kind of rainy. Has it been rainy the entire time that I've been away, this whole last 10 days, or has it been sunny? And did it get cold at all? Because I was expecting it to be a little bit colder than it is now. I'm really kind of surprised at how warm and humid it is. And I'm surprised that I still have tomatoes growing. I'm like, all right, I can still make some fresh tomato sauce. Excellent. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried growing peppers, but I grew a Tabasco plant and a fish pepper plant this year. And well, George says he's outside still in shorts. Excellent. Hoping I do it. Oh man, that is the way to go. That is the hope. That is the hope. Like I'm saying, so I just never grew any of these kind of vegetables before, or at least maybe I tried a couple vegetables and never had any success. It's like the coriander. I was trying to grow some cilantro, complete disaster. Like I don't know what is up with that. It just did not work for me. I'm just like this. I'm very disappointed. I was hoping for, but anyway. So like the fish peppers and the Tabasco, I harvest them before I left. And you know, you just kind of think that there'd be enough, but it's so little from one plant. They're like, oh man, how much sauce can I make? And I was trying to make the sauce. So I followed this woman's recipe. She says, take the chilies, crush them, weigh them out, add 3%. She said, add 3% salt, and then wrap in cloth and then let it sit. Man, I did that the first week when I was in Los Angeles. Came back. It was all like moldy. And I was like, that doesn't look like fermentation mold. That looks more like moldy mold. I was like, ah. So when Brian says you grew a lot of peppers, what kind of peppers did you grow, Brian? And how much did you receive? Because, you know, and maybe it's just because I'm growing it in the pots, right? I'm growing them in pots. But they're fairly decent sized pots. But maybe if I grew them like in the ground, like the tomatoes that I grew in the ground, they're just gangbusters. Like it's out of control. The Isis Candy little mini tomatoes, they're out of control. I just like, wow, and they're delicious. But the ones that grew in the pots struggle. I think next year I'm gonna take over more of that potted area, the planting area, and just kind of go buck wild with it, especially with tomatoes. But it's like one of those things where it's like early on in the summer, that's when I was eating with tomatoes. I was happy to eat with tomatoes. Like I was making more, I was buying tomatoes. And then finally when tomato harvest came and it's like, oh man, I'm not really hungry for tomatoes. What am I going to do? It's like terrible. I'm still trying to get this retro hill thing. Maybe I almost got it. You know, I watched this movie on the flight home. Speaking of movies, called Marcel. Marcel the Shell with Shoes, something like that. Marcel the Shell wearing shoes. And I wasn't sure what to think about it. It's that, but this little shell named Marcel. Let me see. Marcel the Shell with shoes on. Like, I had never heard of this. Evidently, it was on YouTube years ago. And I was like, here it is. Let me show you the. This is Marcel the Shell with shoes on. It is terribly cute. Now, why did I watch this? Mainly because I read that Isabella Rossellini is in it. And I was like, oh, Isabella Rossellini, I will watch. Very nice. It was a lot of fun. It was actually fun. If you get the chance to see this, it was kind of fun, and kind of like these little shells harvesting vegetables was a very interesting thing. So Brian says he grew in a pot poblano and small round red peppers. Oh, nice. Maybe I'll try some bigger peppers. You know, these are really small. You know, the Tabasco and the fish peppers, and the fish peppers are a little bit more endemic, or I guess native to Maryland. So that was something I wanted to try. And George says that Dad had a full-on garden when he was a kid. Peppers were always in the ground. All our produce in terms of veggies and food. I mean, if you do it right, like you can have like bountiful harvests. Like, I think it would be dope if I had big bountiful harvests. But you know, this is really my first year doing gardening of vegetables. Like, typically it's been plants and little trees and stuff like that, especially at the old Hamden shop. But now it's like, this is the first time I'm actually doing it with, you know, this kind of stuff. And so it was a year for experimentation, a year for testing it out and seeing what I like, you know. I would like to get better with the tomatoes. And I found that you don't, like, I was waiting for the tomatoes to go fully ripe before picking them. And then, you know, sometimes they just start to crack, right? And they get that weird crack in it. But I pulled some peppers or some tomatoes early when they were green, because I was going to make fried green tomatoes. And I did make that for a few of them. But then surprisingly, like, you can't eat a lot. Like, you look at the tomato, like I look at the tomato, I look at this tomato and I think, man, I can tear that up. I could tear up 2 of those, maybe 3 of those. They're really small. And then you slice it, you prepare it, and you like cook it. And then you try to eat it. You're like, oh my gosh, man, this is really filling. Like, maybe I could eat 1. 2 was like, I'd be bloated. Anyway, so next year, I'm going to plant more in the ground. I think I'll keep the herbs in the pots, but the tomatoes and stuff really need that ground, right? I think they all need the ground. And I'm really pleased that nobody stole my vegetables this year. Like, I was kind of expecting people to steal them. Somebody. Then we had the pears. The pears came out all right. The peaches, not pears. But of course, they're in a pot, so the peaches are small. What I think I'm going to do next year is, like, let's say I had 12 peaches on the tree. I'm going to pull the peaches and pull a bunch of them so that maybe 6 of them will stay, and I'll let them do their thing. Brian says cracked tomatoes is caused by not consistently watering. That's a lie, man. That's a lie. I always water enough. Yeah, I'm bad at watering. Is that because they're trying to suck in as much water as possible to stay alive? Like, I found especially during the heat of summer, like, I would water practically every day. Maybe I might miss a day during the week, maybe 1 day. But pretty much I would water every day, but I wouldn't get to water until the afternoon. And so I think that, man, during the heat of summer, like it's really, that heat is just burning off all the moisture. So that by the time, because, I would water them in the evening, and you could see they're getting a little bit stressed. Like, oh, I would notice the leaves are a little bit like crinkly. Like, damn it, that's not good. So we'd have to water morning. Or maybe just hook up that like leaky pipe irrigation on a timer so it can like do its thing. We'll have to look into that. So we're rolling along, and the cigar is smoking quite nicely so far. As you can see, the burn is good. It's got good good white ash. Yeah, it's holding up well. Like this first third is very good. Very, very good. Like if it performs this way throughout the whole thing, ooh, that'd be nice. It'd be a nice smoke. And at $9, $10, that's not a bad price point. Get a little bit cheaper online or something like that. Man, nice, like regular smoke. See how the coffee's doing. There's a little bit of roughness to it. I don't know what that Bolivian's all about, but definitely seems to add roughness to the blend. Mind you, I spent the entire week in Saudi Arabia with all these coffee guys. They're all about like super smooth, bright, clean, natural process coffees. So it's a very rarefied kind of thing. These guys spend crazy amounts of money on their coffee. All right, my delivery has been completed. So I came back, and my flight went from Dammam, Saudi Arabia to Frankfurt, Germany, where I had a bit of a layover, but almost not even 2 hours, and then jumped the flight to Chicago. Spent 3 hours in Chicago, then jumped back to Baltimore. And so I get to Chicago. And so when you arrive at the port of entry to the United States, which is Chicago, you have to claim your bags and then go through customs. So I'm waiting, come down. Bags are all out. It's like, have all the bags arrived? They're like, yep. My bags are not here. Could you look them up? So they looked them up. They're like, oh, yes, it didn't make your flight. And they're going to bring it on the next flight. All right, that's cool. Because, for me, I don't really get too worried about this. Is probably like the 4th time that my bags have been missing from my arrival flight. And, I already know that as long as they know where it is, they're going to bring it to me. They're going to process it through customs or whatever they have to do. And the best part is that they're going to deliver it to me. I don't have to go back to the airport to get it. They're going to bring it to me. So they said, just when you get to Baltimore, tell the agents there that you need to file a claim. They'll take care of everything. So I got home, went to the baggage claim, and I was like, hey, here's my tickets. This is what happened. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. We'll take care of all about it. And then the lady was telling me, well, it's going to come on. So they already looked it up. So they already have it. It had already arrived in the United States, or it was about to arrive in the U.S. And then it had to make the trip, the flight that arrives at 11 o'clock in Baltimore from Chicago, the last flight of the day. She said it's going to come on that flight. A little bit too late for us to bring it out tonight. Our guy would have already left. We'll bring it out to you tomorrow. And I was like, that's perfect. No problem. Like I've had times when, like the most inconvenient time was many years ago. I was in Italy. Maybe it's like late 2000s or early 2010s. I get to Florence. That's right. I was going to Florence. I went to Florence, and then I was driving. Where was I driving to? I was driving somewhere north of there, maybe probably to Maranello. And I say to my bags didn't arrive, and I was like, my bags haven't arrived. And they're like, oh, we'll find them for you, and then we'll bring them to you. Where are you staying? And so I told them, and it's like a 3-hour drive away. Yeah, that night or later that day, was it? Maybe it was that night because it was early. I arrived in the morning, so by that night, here was the guy, the driver. Here's your bags. So I've always found them to be pretty good at returning bags. I've never lost bags, like it was completely lost, total loss, nothing. I've never had that. delayed. Like when I was in Saudi Arabia in March, it took like 3 days to get me the bag. So I was a little bit like, what's going on there? And back then there was a lot of like confusion. This is right when the whole like implosion of the baggage system was going to begin. Like they couldn't track it. They had no idea where it was. It was on its way to me, like it was being transported to me. They just didn't know. They just couldn't see it in their system where it was. So I was like, oh, that's a little bit of a problem. But as I'm like sitting there the third day, I was like, what the hell is going on here? Then it arrived. So I was like, all right, cool. Something I wanted to know was like, when I'm standing here, does this get too shaky? Like if I hit the, oh, that's a problem. Hold on, now I need to do something about filing something. Where's the other bag? Oh, great. So they've delivered one bag, but they did not deliver the big bag. So okay, here's the advantage. The small bag that they brought has all my laundry. Great. But the big bag has all of my like teas and like trinkets, as well as my tripod and some of the stuff I use to make videos, which could be a big problem. George says, this is why I'll never put my golf clubs on a plane. If they were left behind, I'd lose my mind. I'd be tamed. Well, here's the thing. Well, what if you fly to some place to play golf? Do you only rent golf clubs? Or do you bring your, like, I mean, like my father's an avid golfer and he's traveled a bit to play golf and he's typically brought his clubs and never really had any problems. But I mean, if the clubs are your weapons, like, how do you play without them? That's what I'm curious. One thing I must say is like I feel like this is a slow burning cigar. Like sometimes I feel like I'm smoking them really fast. This one I feel like I'm smoking, but it's like it's not burning very fast. It's like burning slowly and just kind of giving you your money's worth. You know what I'm saying? Actually, speaking of golf, what I really need to do is look up how to play golf in Dubai. Let's look at that. Golf in Dubai. I might go there next month on my next trip to Saudi. And I wonder if you play instant booking and no fees. I don't know about that. That sounds suspicious. But let's have a look. Oh my gosh. Look at that. 292, 227 to 379, 305, 265, 417. Oh, here, this is better. Ah, my God. My God. Look at those prices. I'm not really an avid golfer, but my goodness. Step one, bring lots of cash. Yeah. Good Lord. That's crazy. All right, let's see the academy course. I'm thinking that means like executive course. Is that correct? Yeah, 9 holes, $47. My friend, she in the past year since I've seen her, she's taken up golf. And I was talking to her a while back, and I was like, we should go play. I said, I'll come out there. We should go play together. Here's this one. JA, the Resort Golf Course. $84 for 9 holes also. My God, 9 holes. How about this one? Emirates Club. $175 a person. Oh, 18 holes. The question is, though, like, let's say if I'm there, right? Dubai, December. Here, 79.62. Okay, that's not too bad. If it's really 79.62, that should not be too bad to play golf outside. Right? What do you think, George? That's good temperatures, right? But if we're in the middle of like this, October now, yeah, like now, like when I was in Dammam, ooh, very, very hot, man. It was like not brutally hot, but brutally humid. So it was probably like this. Yeah, that was the temperature we had, 96. But I don't know. Okay. I think the 9 holes, the executive course, will be fine. That we can finish in a couple hours, not take too long. God knows I haven't played in a while, so I don't want to like peter out. I don't want to putter out. And the back 9, that would not be fun. All right, golf. So are you a Hanma kind of golfer? I was watching that. I was watching a video about those because some of my friends they play golf. They talk about this Hanma, and I'm like, Hanma, what is that? Like it's a Japanese club. It's very expensive, like $5,000 for a club. And I was like, what? $5,000? There's actually a golf shop in Ellicott City. So if you know where the what is that place called? Honey Pig, the Honey Pig Korean barbecue. It's in that shopping center is kind of a wedge shape. It's in the wedge part, right? There's this little golf shop that has an indoor golf range, the electronic ranges. They're pretty good. They're actually not terribly expensive. Like if you go to the one downtown Baltimore, that gets pricey, right? This one is reasonably priced. It's not as nice. It's not as nicely designed as the one downtown. Like the one downtown is like super like fancy, like bar and everything like that. This place is like a bunch of Korean guys just got together, put up some screens and like did the bare minimum, just kind of playing, right? But they sell Hanma golf clubs, and I was like, look at them. I was like, well, they look kind of dope. I should get one. Like, what am I gonna do with one? George says I should do 9 holes. Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Can't spend all day playing golf. Oh, that's what I had to look at. Did they rent clubs? Like I would have to rent, right? Let's see. Rental clubs. Do they have rental clubs? Shared golf cart. That's fine. 4-ball policy. I'm not that bad. Rentals and add-ons. Okay, golf clubs for 9 holes. Oh, so I need to add that. Continue. So they're $114 already for me. That seems like a lot. From what I remember, if I played like Fox Hollow, their executive course, I remember it being like $25, $35. Is that right? I don't know. When it comes to golf, I try not to get too much into the club thing. Like my friends, they're like into their clubs. They're like, I gotta have these clubs. I gotta buy this. I gotta buy that. I'm just like, my dad is such an avid golfer over the years that he's got a ton of clubs. So I just piecemeal a set from his sets. And, I got some, I think, pretty decent stuff. Like there's this really nice tailor-made driver, that. But he does have these old clubs that I guess he started with in the 80s that are wood. Like the drivers are made of wood. And I keep thinking, I'm going to go out one day, maybe to go to the driving range, bring those old clubs and like see how well I can hit them. Because I kind of had this belief that to play golf, you should play with it. You should be able to play with any clubs. It's kind of like my theories with coffee. Like as a barista, I should be able to make coffee in any environment. So I should be able to play golf with any clubs. George says you play 36 holes at Fox Hall for that price. Yeah, that makes sense. 36. That's like my dad's kind of playing. That guy would he would do 36 in a day if he could. So I guess we're kind of through the first third. And the first third, I must say, was banging, like really, really banging. Like, man, very good. I'm going to say very good for the flavor. And then I'd say it's a nice medium and very good again. But it's getting, I don't know, it feels, now they're moving into the second third, it's starting to feel a little bit off. A little more acridity is coming up. Still trying to get this thing. One day, I'm going to get this, you know. So what have you guys been doing this past week? You know, I was in Saudi Arabia for their latte art championship. And I'm actually going back there at the end of November, right after Thanksgiving, to oversee another championship, their barista championship. So that'll be happening at the very end of November, very beginning of December. Brian says, I need to buy a suit for an event in January. Where should I go? I guess the question is, how much do you want to spend? You know, if you're willing to spend ridiculous amounts of money, like the equivalent of buying lots of Davidoff cigars, then you should go to this place. You should take a vacation and go to this Huntsman Savile. Take your wife, get some tea, have yourself made a suit, and go next week so that you can go and get measured for their bespoke. This, if I had the wherewithal and the money to do it, I would do this without second thought. I'd be all over this, all over it. I mean, this is the dope place for suits. Now, it is British style tailoring. So if you're an Italian cut guy, it's not going to work for you. British style, this is the way to go. Like this is the ultimate in my fantasies for sartorial. Oh, the event is in Hawaii. Oh, okay. Forget that then. Who is it I'm thinking here? There's a place. Oh, Howell? This is Momo Howell. I think she used to make shirts for men in Honolulu. Okay, that's not showing. I mean, she's very known for making these mu'umu'us, which are the traditional Hawaiian. Now, if you want to go for men's wear, men's Hawaii, there is a place called Rain Spooner. And these are the guys that make. These are if you want to be a properly dressed businessman in Hawaii, this is where you go to buy your shirts, right? Like this is the main deal for Hawaii people. Like this would be considered very, very well dressed in Hawaii. What's up, Steven? We're looking for your brother to dress himself. I think the sizes tend to run a little bit on the smaller side. The cuts are a little bit smaller. But like a lot of this, like here, this sailor one, very traditional, very like, this is considered very conservative in Hawaii for Aloha style shirt. This is going to be a little bit more, but anything by Rain Spooner is actually considered business attire in Hawaii. So basically, you'll wear this with like khaki slacks or something like that. It's really, I would, as much as I'm excited to hear you're looking for a suit, this is really all you need in Hawaii. Like a suit is probably too much. Like depending on the event, like I don't know what the event is, a wedding. Like if it's a Hawaiian style wedding, this is how you want to dress. Like you will be in the okay, not the t-shirts, but the Aloha shirts, these like button down type of shirts. I might have some here that I can show you what they're like. But this is these are the ones. Rain Spooner. Oh, that's kind of nice. This Macau. Hawaiian Christmas for 2022, but it'll be over by then. Like this one in white's good. This is that's kind of nice. Oh, but performance. They didn't want that performance fabric. You want this kind of like this kind of cotton style that has, performance fabric. Yeah, Spooner. Get the ones in Spooner cloth. Well, even the Mandalorian would be kind of fun. Well, that is fun. Something like that would probably be the best thing to use from for an event in Hawaii. And Rusty says, thoughts on a 2022 Airpress champion? Oh, yeah, she's pretty amazing. She's did quite accomplishments. And Brian says 1,500 or less. So 15. So if you don't want to go that route, which, I do recommend going that route. There is a guy locally, Christopher Schaefer. I have a couple of his shirts. And, so Christopher is not this guy, not that guy. I guess his son's very involved too now. His son's very nice. But, so Christopher Schaefer is a guy that trained in Savile Row in London, came back to the United States, and started his own line of clothing here. And he does bespoke. So I got a couple shirts made from him, and his is a little bit different. So what he does, he measures you, and then sends those measurements to a tailor, to the tailor shop in Brooklyn, I think. And I have an idea it's this guy Allen, but I don't know if that's true or not. But he sends it up there. They make it. They send it back to you. That you fit with him. Do your final, tailoring. They send it back again. They finish it up, and that's it. Really popular here in Baltimore. He does, as you can see, does a nice job, right? And I think, at $1,500, probably will be within that range. Of course, it doesn't really say. So that's one way to go. Another way to go would be, that might be the Quintessential Gentleman. Here's their shop downtown. They do have a shop here in Hunt Valley, just a couple miles away from here at the Executive Center in Hunt Valley. And they do, I don't know if they do bespoke or or maybe they do kind of fitted. You might have to go visit them, but they do something. I don't really know. I really don't know what. I mean, I've stopped in there a couple of times, but they're really more for svelte guys more svelte than I am. So they might be worth checking out. They'll be worth checking out at least, or giving a call to them. I would say those are really some of the best places. Because, here's the thing. Once you get to, if you want to have a suit that you're going to wear, if you have it properly done, like a bespoke, it makes a tremendous difference. Like the shirts that I have made in London, man, it's like night and day with other shirts. Like they're just they're really a pleasure to wear. Like you feel so smooth and like dapper, and it's really nice. So I would highly recommend checking those out. But again, if the event is in Hawaii, and depending on the event, honestly, you don't really need to get a suit. That stuff from Rain Spooner will be more than appropriate for whatever event you're probably going to be attending. Like, I don't really think of any event that I would go to in Honolulu that would be like you have to wear a suit. Even like funerals. Like, actually, most funerals, guys are wearing shirts and t-shirts with slippers. You know what we call flip-flops here. So, it's not a terribly formal place. Like, yeah, there's really weddings. People are dressed with those rain spooners, things like that. So, yeah. Went to the Navy game football on Saturday. Fly over the whole 9 yards. Oh, nice, nice, nice. And then Rusty's buddy Jim is the drum major. That's pretty awesome. And Steven's out there in Arizona smoking the Don Pepin, drinking iced tea. Excellent, excellent. Oh, yeah, that's good stuff. Oh, wedding. Okay. Yeah. Seriously, if you are just going to go to the wedding, get the rain spooners, get yourself some khakis or something like that, and you will be perfectly situated for that. And yeah, I think that will be perfect. That will get one of those rain spooner shirts. There's another company that I had that I used to buy from, man, and I just can't remember the name of this place. I heard they closed, so maybe that's why. I tried to look them up a couple weeks ago, and I just couldn't figure out what the name was. Maybe I'll have a look around and see if I can find something. But really, if you want to get something well dressed, that and some, I don't know, docksides or something. Plus, also, since you'll be in Honolulu, the Elks Lodge at Diamond Head is dope. Like, it's dope. One of my friends in Honolulu is a member of the Elks. He took me there many years ago. Really cool. So where the Elks Club is in Honolulu is on the Diamond Head side of Waikiki Beach, and it's next door to this place called the Outrigger Canoe Club. And if you remember to the 1980s version of Magnum PI, Magnum would go to this place called the King Kamehameha Club. It was on the beach. The King Kamehameha Club is the Outrigger Canoe Club. And Outrigger Canoe Club is the most exclusive club in all of the state of Hawaii. Like, you got to be moneyed to get there. Moneyed and well recommended to be a member. However, if you're a member of the Elks, if you're just a schleppy guy like us and a member of the Elks, you could just go to the Elks Club and enjoy the same beach that these rich people do in Hawaii. So it's really a fantastic deal. And Tony likes the leather Olukai slippers. There you go. Yeah, actually, you know what? White guy with a beard, rain spooner t-shirt, and khakis with slippers. Yeah, that's the total. That is a look. That is a very classic look. Do you know offhand where the wedding will be in Hawaii? Nice thing too, when you're in Hawaii, there's a lot of, typically in a week, there's usually quite a few places that you can go smoke with there. So I'll be there in like 2 weeks. So I'll be sure to connect with my friends and then let them know you're coming out to clue you in to what's going on with cigar world out there. This one, okay, so here's the thing. Now that we're well into the second third, it's not as good as the first third. Like, that first third was banging, like, just came out gangbusters, beautiful complexity, spiciness, just going on it, right? And that acridity started at the end of the first third and just kind of like, it's kind of toned down the experience. It's a little bit disappointing in that respect. So Brian says he doesn't really know where it's gonna be, but he's staying at the Disney hotel. So you're staying at the Aulani, and the Aulani, it's a nice place. It's a nice place. My cousins are there right now. They are. Let me see. My cousin, she's been posting like madness from this place. You see where her posts are from the hotel. Like they're totally like going to all the tourist spots. It's really quite funny for me to watch. So, like here, for example, right? Well, I'll show you this. All right, so this is the Aulani, and they're staying at the Aulani. So the Aulani has a luau. I don't know what the theme is, probably with like Lilo or something like that. And this is the view of the luau grounds. And I'm sure it's really good. Like I'm sure it's a really great place to be. So here's some other scenes from their luau. Let's see. So guys playing Hawaiian music. Oh, holy crap. That's my buddy. This is Chris Kamaka. That's funny. All right. He's kind of this well-known musician in Hawaii, but he's more famous for his family owning this Kamaka ukulele, which is the big ukulele manufacturer in Hawaii. So these are just scenes, images from, oh, there's Mickey from the Aulani. So the Aulani, of course, is really nice. Like they make it really nice. It's a beautiful property there. Where's that? Waimea Valley. What else do they have here? Roy's. So Roy's, they have a Roy's location close to the Ko'olina. So if you want to have some of the butterfish, that will be there for you. Again, this is more stuff from around the, yeah, like here's their beach at Aulani. This is the other resort that's there. I forgot the name of it offhand, but there's a lot to do. So it's really a pretty, one of the things about this side of the island, there's no real natural beaches on this side of the island. So they've had to build these coves over the years, to give a beach. So this is more the Aulani. So it's a pretty, it is a pretty place to stay. Now, the only thing for me that I don't like about the Aulani is that it's far away, right? Like, I think that's their wedding chapel. So maybe if you have the wedding there, it'll be at this chapel. Oh, that's the Ko'olina Resort. This is the Ko'olina Resort, which is adjacent to it's the Four Seasons Ko'olina, Aulani here, and then the Marriott Ko'olina Beach. When I was still living there, the only thing that was there was this Four Seasons one, and it wasn't the Four Seasons at the time. Now the thing is that I'll show you now where Ko'olina is, right? So Aulani is here. It's on the west coast of Oahu, right? And as you can see, pretty much all these little pins are the places that I like to go to. So there's no pins out here because I don't go out here. I used to be out involved with this girl. I used to want to date this one girl that lived up here, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. But it's really, really, for me personally, it's really far away. Like I'm just like, oh God. Like people, my cousin were like, hey man, like on one of the trips they were staying out there. I was like, I'm not going out there, man. I'm staying in town. I want to stay in town here because I just like town better. It's everything that I want to do is in town. And it is a bit of a drive. And with the traffic, and it can be real. Let's see how the traffic is. So here, traffic is heavy through here, through Honolulu. It's all bad. It's all bad. Bad traffic, bad traffic, bad traffic. Then you go back out to H1, bad traffic, bad traffic. And it's only, 5 hours difference? It's only 4:15, so it's only going to get worse from this point on. It should be really bad through here, and here, even through here. But that shouldn't dissuade you. That's where it's going to be. But in order to, most of the guys when they do smoke, they are here in town somewhere. So it would be best to rent a car. Like, don't go there and not rent a car because it will be miserable. Well, it all depends what you're doing. Like if you're really not going to go anywhere the whole trip, then don't rent a car. Just stay there. But if you want to go around and see the different sites and you were to Uber to them, Uber will cost a hell of a lot of money. So a booty call in the middle of nowhere? Well, there's a lot of places that have a booty call. And, there's quite a few places we've had booty calls on the island. So let's see where to smoke. Okay, so if we zoom down into Honolulu, right? Where is it? Kapiolani Boulevard. Right here's a place called the Design Center, Honolulu Design Center. It's right on Kapiolani Boulevard, which is this line right here. And the guys will usually smoke at the tables right here. There's a little like cafe where you can get drinks, and there's some tables. So the guys will gather here about 2 p.m. and they'll have smokes there. And then Thursday afternoons, if we pull back and go over here to a place called Restaurant Row. Where is it? Kabai'au Church. Yeah, here we are. Restaurant Row, which is on Ala Moana Boulevard. This is Ala Moana Boulevard. The entrance to the parking is on the other side of the building on Puhakaina Street. So you drive in here, you park inside here, and this place called the Row in Kaka'ako, the Row Bar. Thursday nights after work, about 6 p.m. until God knows when, this is where the guys will all smoke. They'll just gather at the tables here. You can't miss them. They're very friendly. You just kind of walk up, you're like, what's up? And then they're all like smoking away. Another thing that they'll have is my friend John Fio will also, who is the Drew Estate rep, will have every once in a while, maybe once a month, he'll usually have a cigar event. Where is it? Here's Murphy's. I guess it's it's called Black Shamrock now. But there is a bar right here. And there's a little, you can see there's a little alleyway right here. There's some tables there, and they'll usually get together and have a cigar here or on Hotel Street at Bar 35. So these are some of the spots where they'll typically have cigar outings. So where's the Elks? So the Elks, this is downtown Honolulu, right? Actually, I used to live right here. Right? Where is it? Right here. The Aston Executive Center. That's where I used to live. Right in this is what we call downtown Honolulu. Most people that are not from Hawaii, they say downtown, they mean Waikiki. And Waikiki is outside of the downtown. This is the Waikiki area, right? So when you see all the TV shows and all that stuff, like the Hawaii Five-0, they would always be at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. This is where they would be, here along the beach. Now, where the Elks Club is here. So this is Diamond Head Crater, right? That's Diamond Head Crater, Kapiolani Regional Park, Waikiki Aquarium. So you're kind of driving out of Waikiki by Kapiolani Park, and here's the Elks. So you can see here, this is the Outrigger Canoe Club, right? This is the beach. Oh, God, the beach is really kind of small. And then this is the Elks. The Elks is right here. So you just kind of pull in, park here for the Elks. Parking for the Outrigger Canoe Club is here. So they are a bit separate. But as you can see, there's the Elks. And it's pretty far removed from Waikiki. And unfortunately, if we tag the Elks, unfortunately, the Elks whoops. So the Elks is here. Aulani is there. So you've got to go all the way. You got to get on the highway, drive all the way into town. and then get off on whatever this street that Wyola's on. No, not Wyola, but over here. And then you can finally get to the Elks. So unfortunately, it is a little bit of ways. A little bit of ways. But don't let that dissuade you. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. A lot of the guys that come to the cigar nights do drive from the west side like that. We're close. Not as far out as the Aulani, but from far enough out. All right, let's do. We're kind of ran out. But, if your wedding's out there, you got to stay there. You got to stay there. Just get a car. If you do get a car, I suggest not getting a Mustang convertible or a Jeep Wrangler. Now, why? Those are quite excellent cars to drive around Hawaii. I've done it myself. Actually, the last time I was in Honolulu, I rented a Mustang convertible. You just don't want to go anywhere with your car. What I mean by that is that if you have your bags and you rent those cars, go straight to the hotel, check in, leave your bags there. Don't ever leave anything. If you rent either of those cars, don't leave anything in them. Those are really, really they're marked for death, meaning that if there are people that are trying to steal from tourists, they will be looking for those cars. There is no car that's more ubiquitous for tourists than the Mustang convertible and the Jeep Wrangler. One year I had a hybrid, that Ford C, whatever that weird Ford car that had this key down. It was weird. Nobody noticed that. C-Max, the C-Max car. That's fine to drive around and leave shit in, but don't leave stuff in the Mustang. Although, man, I gotta say, the Mustang or the convertible or the Jeep, top down, whoa, it's brilliant, man. It's really, if you're gonna go to Hawaii, you might as well rent that because it's brilliant. Like when you're driving along the Pali Highway, there's these mountains, the Pali Mountains, right? The Ko'olau Mountains. Right. You're driving there and, oops. Imagine this. You're driving along these, right? There's a road right here. Right here is a road. And you're driving along and you just kind of look up and you're like, whoa, these stunning, vertical cliffs. And if you happen to be there during the rainy season, when it's raining, between each of these little crevasses here, these indentations, there are waterfalls that just happen naturally when the rains are heavy. I mean, it's stunning to watch. You're like, whoa, this is amazing, right? So, and if you're in a regular car, you can't see that. So you get the convertible, man. It's dope. One of my friends, years ago, back in the 90s, I would stay at his house they were all roommates with my cousin. And, he'd go away and he'd be like, hey, man, you could use my car. And he had the little Mazda Miata. And I would drive that around. Mother of God, that was good times, man. So totally, you should do that. Yeah, go for it. Just go from the airport to the hotel, leave your bags, and then you'll be fine. And then you could smoke cigars as you're driving with a convertible. That's just brilliant. Brilliant. But the problem in Hawaii is that for cigars that it's really restrictive. They kind of went overboard with the restrictions, right? So you can't. There was this weird situation where you couldn't smoke on the beach, right? You can't smoke on the beach. You can't smoke in the parks. You can't smoke in the beach. You can't smoke in the water. So the guys were telling me one year, they would take their beach chairs, they would go to the beach and they would go into the water and sit in the water with their chairs. And that was okay. And then sometimes they would gather at this park, but not be in the park. They would be in the parking lot where they put their chairs out and they would smoke. And that was okay too. But anyway, when you go there and you meet up with the guys, they'll tell you what to do. Oh, there's George Brightman. What's going on, George? What's happening? We're just here talking about Brian's coming up trip to Hawaii in January for a wedding. Things to do, where to smoke, and stuff like that. We're smoking the Warped 1988, which, was really great at the outset. Kind of had this downfall in the second third. Actually, right now, that last puff, it's starting to feel like it's coming alive. So I think we should test the Crown Heads. Yes, absolutely. The Paniolo. I had the first year of the Paniolo. I haven't had it since. They actually make the Paniolo for my friend Marvin. Actually, maybe that's what we should do. We should do the Paniolo. Maybe we should do it with Brian. Brian can broadcast from the beach in Hawaii with the guy. Oh, I don't know. The time will be off for the guys, but maybe from the design center. Oh, okay, good. Well, we'll have him bring back some. If not, I'll try to get some. I'm actually going to be there in about 2 weeks. I'm supposed to fly there, I think, on the 27th. Oh, so Brian's still putting together an auction items for veterans fundraiser. He wants to know what the alcohol choice is. Yeah, this cigar is certainly starting to get a little bit more spicy, a little bit more interesting now. So we had that lull in the second third, and now they're moving to the third third. I think it's getting a lot better. In fact, let us look at our scoring here. I would say we dropped down to just good. Although the body was relatively the same, so I'm not going to hit that. Paniolo's got it. Yeah, so that's going to be had from my buddy Marvin, who owns a place there called, well, he doesn't own it. He just runs it. So there was a place when I was living there called Arfield Winery. So Richard Field was the owner, and he made this gourmet shop that did wines and gourmet foods and cigars. And so this is pretty much, do they have anything? Yeah, so the local grocery chain called Foodland bought them out several years ago. And so, they've got there's a bar at Ala Moana. Okay, that you'll not be able to smoke at because they don't allow that in the malls. They don't have their R Fields. Let's go for cigar. Oh, that's something I didn't know about. Crown Head pays tribute to Grant Kawasaki with the HGK 76. I did not know that. Hopefully they'll have some of that. I definitely will get one of those. So Grant was a friend of ours. He's one of our cigar guys from Hawaii. He was a chef that had his own TV show in Hawaii, and he passed away because of the coronavirus. July of last year, really sad. But yeah, so you can see here, Crown Head's releasing Paniolo Speciale next month, so it should be out already. But these are all the different ones that have been done for our field by the different manufacturers. BLKWKS Hawaii Kato returns. Of course, the Tatuai 110, the one we're smoking last week, that was from my friend Marvin. Oh, I didn't know they had so many of these. I haven't really been keeping up, so. Where's the fundraiser and where? Maybe I can grab some V. Ooh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. January 23rd at the Elks if you're interested in attending up here in Towson. Oh, nice. And our field is the only state cigar Crown Heads does that is actually a retailer exclusive. Oh, nice. I didn't realize that. Yeah, the paniolas were good. The paniolas were good. Also, if you're on Facebook, something to subscribe to there. There's a group called the Sandwich Isles Herfing Society. So these are a bunch of the local Hawaii guys that are. So if you jump onto Facebook and join this group, this will also tell you everything that's going on. Here, as you can see, my friend John is having a smoker at the Row, the 19th of October. Oh, I'm going to miss all these events. So, if you want, these are all guys from Hawaii or somehow related to Hawaii. And so, and as you can see, even in Kihei, Maui, they're all over the islands, but this is a good place to go and at least, to be up to date on what's happening with the scene there. So. Oh, that'd be nice. Veteran teen, veteran owned. That'd be great. And George, we're also drinking some of this blended coffee that Tony made. It's a blend of Panama Geisha and Bolivian. Drinking today. Not bad, not bad. But this cigar is coming along nicely. The one thing I didn't really understand, so on this cigar, he actually has a number on the band. I didn't happen to read too much about it, but George, maybe you might know what the band numbers mean for these Warp cigars. This one is 976212. I don't know if that's a serial number or something like that. It didn't occur to me to look at the other bands when I was picking this up. It does have the 1988 on the back. So kind of nice. I'm going to take that off to give it some breathing room. Oh, there's something written on the inside. Be exclusively different. Warp Cigars. Kyle Geller. Nice. Well, it's not really small batch roasted. He sourced them from Costco. And the one coffee is made by Costco's label, the Panama Geisha. And we did a video about it a few months ago where Panama Geisha is a really expensive coffee, really celebrated coffee in our industry. And this one, he got a kilo for $45. So really, that's a stellar deal for Geisha off the hand. The other component, the Bolivian, comes from a company called Parisi out in Kansas City. One of my really good friends worked for them for quite a while. Actually, when he became the world champion, he was working for them at that time. There's a little bit of a bagginess to the flavor of the coffee. And the body's a little bit rough, but, not bad. But that roughness doesn't quite go well with the cigar, unfortunately. Definitely the cigar has improved from the second third. But let's see. Of course, the cigar is made by Aganorsa at their Tabsa factory in Esteli. And it has all Nicaraguan binder filler. So I guess it's what we consider the Nicaraguan puro. And what do they say? Cigar Aficionado gives it a 95 and ranks it third. Although I think it was one of their best cigars. It was number 3 in 2019 for their rankings. It is really good. Like overall, it's really good. Well, it's not. So the first third was gangbusters, right? It came out, it was very good, did really great. And then the second third, it kind of got a little more acridity and just toned itself down and just wasn't as enjoyable. Now it seems like it's starting to come back. Like if you the guys remember, I was at the very beginning, and I was like, if it'll stay this way the whole way, it'll be like super cigar. But so this is a pre-COVID brand. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, because it came out in 2019. Yeah, that's right. Do you find that there's a big difference between pre-COVID brands or Vitolas and post-COVID? Oh, and I guess that if we're looking here at this, I was wondering if this might be some kind of serial number. It must be something else because this is still the same number that's printed on my band, the 976212. So maybe that's his birth date. If it's birth year, maybe the birth date, or maybe the number of cigars they made by that point. I'm not sure. In some ways, yes. Are there cigars that you found that are really significantly different because of that? I don't know if you guys happen to follow any K-pop, but one of the K-pop bands that I like is a band called Blackpink, and they just announced their world tour, and they're starting this month actually here in the United States, and then moving across America into Canada, and then eventually to Europe. And I was thinking, well, where can I go to check that out? And I was looking at potentially in December in Europe somewhere. Berlin was one of the places I looked at. Man, I looked it up today. It's pricey, pricey, pricey. Like a box seat was 500 euros. And then a regular seat was like 550 euros. I was like, oh my God, man. I don't think I'm going to afford that. That just seems a bit expensive. I mean, 250 would be a stretch, but 500. I believe that some age difference showed up mostly due to supply chain disruptions. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. You know, I know Kyle's really also into coffee. George, I don't know if any of you guys have tried I think Kyle did come out with a coffee a while back, right? I don't know if any of you have tried that or anything. That's one thing that when I go to the trade show, I do end up chatting with Kyle a bit about coffee. Here's a tutorial on how to make cafe cubano. It's got his little Seiko machine there, the Pilon Gourmet. Speaking of Pilon, that reminds me, like I was watching this YouTube video. There's this YouTube channel called Early American, and Early American is this woman, this young woman. She's one of those people that's obsessed with like reliving the 1700s, life in the 1700s in America. Really interesting stuff. At least I think it's interesting. But she was making something recently in one of her videos where she was using this like pilon or like a pyramid of sugar, and like piloncillo style sugar is really popular today still in Latin America. You can buy these little pylon shaped things, and basically it's the heavy molasses type of sugar that is formed. It's molded into these cones, and then you use it. And I found out, and I was wondering what so she's using this one that's actually of white cane sugar. And I was like, what is that? Where can I get that? And someone responded to me finally. And this is it here. White sugar cone, $8.50. Really kind of fascinating. I'm fascinated by this, right? And they sell these nippers. Of course, these are handmade, $75. I don't know about that. But as you can see back here, there's the cone of sugar. So I guess in the 18th century, this is how they process the sugar into these cones. And then you just kind of like clip off as much as you need. I don't know. I don't know. I'm planning to order some to try to check it out. George says, if you want to get close enough to Blackpink to judge her laundry, expect to break down. But it's so worth it. Look at these K-pop bands, you know. I think Blackpink is really the one that's like quite nice. Yes, I wasn't overwhelmed. Like, I think we're still in the good range. It kind of hinted that it was going to jump back up, but it kind of like hinted and then still good, but not like very good. And I've had this one in the humidor for probably about 2 months now. Oh, I hope they get my bag back, because in my bag is my cigars. And a couple of the guys gave me some cigars when I was in Saudi. Different brands, different brands I'm not even familiar with, but I was interested to try them. So hopefully that will not be lost for good. It's just smoking rough now. Rough, a little bit getting hot. I'm going to slow down a little bit here. Brian said Blackpink's Venom sounds good. Oh, yeah. I think their music is very solid. And so, like, in the whole K-pop world, when they do concerts, it's a lot of like pre-recorded tracks, and the artists are singing over their pre-recorded tracks. So it's a little like when we compare to American live concerts, it's a little bit disappointing in that respect. I think it's a little bit disappointing. You know, I think part of it's because, you know, a lot of it now they want to hit the auto-tune perfection. But I think the best part about a live concert is that they're not auto-tuned. They're singing their natural voices. And one of the things that really struck me about Blackpink a few years ago was when they played at Coachella. You can look that up on YouTube. And these girls, they came out with like a live band, full-on live band, drummers and everything like that. And they did have a vocal track they were singing over, but you could really hear them singing live. And I was like, oh, that's mad respect for that, man. How does the committee feel about us doing a test of the new Osgener? Absolutely. That's one that Tony wants to try. And George says, K-pop's all about the show, choreography, like watching the artists. Yeah, and I think that's totally on the money. But I think that's where I really like Blackpink over the rest, is because they're really trying to make that, they're really making that jump. And for this tour, they had a little video about their tour preparation where they got their band back together and they're like practicing. So I'm like, ooh, that would be one to go check out. Of course, my favorite band, Momoland. I'm wondering what's going on with them, because they haven't released anything in like a year or two. Like, they released one track a year ago, and it's like, come on, man, you guys need to release a whole like EP or something like you normally do. Like everybody else, Blackpink, Twice, and all them, they're still releasing. I think their company's just kind of holding them back. But I went to see them in 2019 in Mexico City, and that was really a lot of fun. But I definitely would like to see this Blackpink and see what they're like live. As soon as he has my hand, let's set a date. All right, let's do that. Let's do that for sure. We'll be back in the regular studio for that. I'm in this setup because I just flew in last night. I slept like 10 hours. I'm just kind of feeling groggy, so I didn't really feel like coming in at all today and setting up. Plus, I'm having to catch up on a lot of accounting. My accountant is like, we need to finish your books. So like, all right. I'm on it. So I sent them some files, and they were like, okay, we're missing all this, and this. I'm like, oh God, we're missing all that. I really got to crank on this thing. So, all right, good. That's set for sure. So as we're getting closer to the end, I think it's been a good cigar overall. The thing is that, it's $10 from Raul, and it's good, And I was thinking early, the first third, I was really thinking, like, man, if this performs this well through the entire cigar, this could be really a great thing to add to like your daily rotation. And this is still a good cigar for the rotation, but it just hasn't held for the second and third thirds. It just hasn't held that same level of oomph and complexity. You know, like the Revenge. The Revenge is still that kind of hallmark for me. But I did notice when I was in Saudi smoking, like I would use that smoking room from last week. Like one of the nights I was there, I was trying to go to bed, and I went to bed at like 11:30. Maybe I slept for an hour, but like the problem with being there is that it's only like 7 hours right now ahead. So if you're trying to go to bed at like 11:30, 12, it's still only 5 p.m. here. So it's like really struggle to get to sleep. And sleep only really comes at like 9 in the morning. And you're like, oh man, it's really brutal. So one night I remember I was there and I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was like in the room. I was like, oh, let me do some editing. So I edited last week's video. And then I sent that up to the internet. And I was like, all right, I need to do something else. What am I going to do? It's 4 a.m. now. I'm like, I'm going to have a cigar. So I went downstairs to that lounge and set up my viewing space and lit up that for Revenge. And I must say, you know, even those intemperances, you know, they still got a bit of power. Like I was like, ooh, maybe I should not have smoked that this early. Brian says half-wheeled sold out. Wait, what happened now, Brian? How do they sell out? $10 fair price for a good cigar, but I can't get excited for a cigar that shows promise up front and then fades. Or yeah, unfortunately, it is tough. It is tough. Like you really want to see it like perform well. Like it's not, this last third isn't worse than the first third. It's about the same. Which, you know, had it started out this way at the first third, I wonder if my interpretation would be different. But since the first third was so like luscious, the second third, the last two thirds have been a bit disappointing in that respect. But yeah, for $10, you know, it seems like it's getting difficult to get anything really, really good for under 10. I did smoke a couple things on my road trip to Albany. A couple cigars from CI. I stopped at the CI in what's that place called? In Bethlehem, and picked up some things there. Let's see, what did I get from them? Oh, the Obsidian White Noise Toro. I got the Ramon Bueso Genesis, the Project. And those were pretty good. They were pretty good. They weren't terrible. And they were pretty reasonably priced. Like, I want to say somewhere in the $5 to $6, $7 range. They might be good, but you know, it's not like the factory smokes from Drew Estate. They're like $3 or so. Like those, I remember getting those, and when I started smoking those, I bought like 2 or 3. They were quite enjoyable for the price point. Surprisingly enjoyable for the price point. However, after smoking 5 of them, I was like, okay, it's got a flavor that I don't really want to have anymore. So I don't know. I think 10 is probably where it's going to be now from now on. Of course, the Padron 1000 series are always fairly priced and always an enjoyable smoke as well. We should probably do some more of those. Yeah, that's truly the factory smoke. After a while, you get these dirty flavors that you just don't want to have anymore. You're like, it's not worth the $350. Like, yeah, sure, it's $350, and that's a great price point, but and those dirty flavors, that's really the best way to put it. Dirty flavors. Those dirty flavors are like, enough. I'm kind of worried about my bags. I gave them my bag tickets and I forgot to take a picture of them to keep the reference numbers. I hope that's not going to bite me. Oh, the Spro mug? Oh, did you get one? If you didn't, I still have one more around here I can get to you. I'm glad you like that. Kind of molded off of the EPMD logo. I'm thinking about making those into t-shirts. A little bit of cracking. I don't know if that's a big deal or not. Probably not at this point. All right, let's go to the grading part of it. I'm going to say flavor. We're still at 7. Body's still holding at the same point. The burn has gone well. We did go out at one point, and I wasn't talking that much. Draw has been very good. So I'll say that's probably an 8. Very good. Consistency. Well, the consistency, it wasn't that consistent. So I'm going to say 7 for good. I'm going to say 7.5 for that. Let's pull up our calculator and give it a calculate. Whoops. Plus 16, plus 15. 76 total. 76. Let's put that out there and see what we got for our Rusty says, I'm seeing some producers that are advertising for advent calendar, cigar advent calendars. Maybe Raul makes, oh, that would be something. I'll have to look into that. Oh, don't worry. We'll get you one now. We'll definitely get you one. Ono Live Guayaberos would be nice. Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. And then we should create our own advent calendar just for us. Cigars, coffee, whiskey. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'm going to drop this in here. Oops. Oh, yeah, that is a rough one. That drops us down here to cigar 27 for the year. $76 pretty rough. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that, you know, I think the one thing that, you know, it's definitely different than the Cigar Aficionado at 95. But I think that it's one of those things where their scoring is very, I think most cigar scoring is very high. I think it's artificially high. Like, I don't know if they really look at any real serious criteria. And that's what we're trying to do with the grading form, is that we want to have it be as even for criteria as well as, you know, being a little bit more even, you know, a little bit less subjective, you know. That's kind of our interest here. We can make an advent calendar and then offer them for sale. Donate money. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. I have to look up advent calendars, see what they do. All right, excellent. So let's think about some ideas for next week, and we can toss those around and see what we're doing. And Brian says the wood-fired chef is dropping more videos. That guy. If you guys are not familiar with the wood-fired chef, he's on YouTube, the wood-fired chef, and he's this guy somewhere in California. I'm suspecting it's Southern California. And I don't know what he did in his previous life, but he has a gorgeous house. I actually have never seen the house, but it's a gorgeous backyard. He's got a beautiful wood-fired oven, and he makes just exquisite-looking videos and food. And he doesn't release very often. Like it's kind of sporadic, but I think it's well worth checking out if you're interested in that kind of cooking. And I've actually used some of his recipes in just a regular oven. In order to simulate that, I basically have taken my little convection oven, just cranked it up to 500 degrees, and just let it rip, and just kind of using some of the ideas that he's using in the videos and just using them in a regular oven. I think that can be totally done. So you might want to give that a check out. Also, I watched this video with this other guy. I don't remember his name, but he basically was making a little like pizza oven using paving stones, paving bricks, and then these 20 by 20 paving like slabs for the deck. And it seemed to work pretty well. I was really surprised. So that might be something to check out if you want to try it at home. If each of us come with 6 items each, assuming 4 of us pitch in, then combined to produce a limited run of these. Oh yeah, that's it. So yeah, think of some items, and we'll discuss more next week. All right, that's about done. I think that's done. So that was the Warped Series Gran Reserva, 1988. Not a bad cigar. Not a bad cigar. Would I buy it again? Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, by Thanksgiving. Yeah, we do have time to do that by Thanksgiving. All right, let's do that. Let's work on that for next week. So I'm going to put this down. I've got a bunch of cigars coming up that I haven't created a calendar for, but we've got quite a few cigars here that I think will be kind of interesting. I'll just give you a little, oops. Like coming up this on the schedule is this Ricochet, the La Barba. That's going to be a nice one. I do have this old Don Pepin Garcia Series JJ that was gifted to me by Dave Knopf. And this is from the 2011 model year. So that should be quite interesting. Here's a Aroma Cro-Magnon of some sort. This one is something that I got. Oh, and this one I got in Texas, the Green Hornet from, what's it called? Blackwork Studio. I'm going to put that in the schedule. The Vega Fina 1998, which is also already on the schedule. So these two are what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. And then some of the other stuff I have here that I'm planning to put in the rotation is this dedication from All Saints Cigar. I got to meet Mickey. We're hanging out at the Roma Craft. And I also met Lou Liga from Philadelphia. He gave me one of his cigars. We're going to put that in the rotation as well. What else do we have here? We've got a few more. Another hot cake. We already did that one. This Aganorsa Leaf Signature Selection. Put that up there. And then we also have this. What is this? The Gatekeeper. Oh, the Gatekeeper. I think this is also on the rotation already. And a couple other ones here. We've got this one, another one from Blackworks, the NBK. So those are some of the stuff that's coming up. The Rusty Door has been performing well, like I said earlier in the show. This is the original Boveda. A little bit of grittiness, but pretty pliable. The grittiness, like I said earlier, is probably about 25% now. And we're well past a year. So that's what's coming up. We're going to have those. I'm going to figure out where they're going to go in the rotation. I also got a couple more cigars to add in. So it looks like we'll have cigars through the end of the year. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you spending another Thursday night with us. We'll be back again next week, Thursday, on the 20th of October. here in Baltimore. I'll be here for another week and a half, and then back. They'll be back away until I think the week after that's the 27th. Oh, that's going to be an interesting one. I don't know if we'll be able to do the 27th because I think that's the day I travel to Honolulu. I'm going to figure out what that is, and then we'll see what time I get there, what time that'll be here, and then how we're going to put that together. It might be a little bit later on that day. All right, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next week. Oh, yeah, definitely. Good to hang out with you guys. All right. You guys have a great one. See you next time.